You're right about to hear from someone who made the most accurate Bitcoin market prediction this year. He made the call back in January that Bitcoin would top around 70K. We topped at 65, and then he said we would drop 50%. Keep in mind, he made this prediction on January 2nd of 2021. The accuracy is insane. I had to go back and check the tweet just to be sure I read it correctly. It is real. He explains exactly how he knew what was about to happen and what it could tell us about where Bitcoin is headed next in 2021. And listen to the end of the episode. Bobby is giving away a Tesla CyberTruck for free. All you have to do is watch the full episode and you can win a Tesla CyberTruck. I really hope it's one of you guys watching right now. If you learned something or enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button right down below. Let's get to 200 likes. Let's see if we can do it. Subscribe right down below for daily crypto market updates and to hear from the smartest investors, analysts, funds, see where they're putting their money, and that'll help you turn a profit. Appreciate you guys watching. Let's get to the show. Bobby Lee talking about the most accurate Bitcoin prediction in 2021 and how you can use previous market cycles to navigate the current market. Enjoy this one, guys, and I'll see you on the next show.
There's only one way out from here, and that's up.
We're live. How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good to hear it.
Thank you for having me on your show, Luke.
Of course, long time coming. You're not in Vegas right now, which is surprising. You're missing out on the greatest sporting event in the world. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs, and your team's still in. Why aren't you in Vegas, man?
So I was actually there. I was there just as recently as probably 10 days ago. Yeah, a week and a half ago. Yeah, I was there for 2 months earlier this year, this spring, I guess. Yeah.
What are you up to in Shanghai then? What brings you back?
I just got back. So some people may know I spent about 8 months in Las Vegas and then went back to Shanghai in October, and then stayed until late April, and I made a trip to the U.S. So I was in the U.S. from late April to about June. Yeah.
Nice.
And now I'm back in China.
Nice. What you used to run an exchange in China. Do you miss that at all? Like, I think I kind of forget why you stopped running that, but if I remember correctly, it had to do with kind of you anticipating what might be playing out right now, which is China is finally cracking down on some things. They're not banning Bitcoin, but they are cracking down on some leverage on exchanges. They're definitely cracking down on mining. Did you anticipate that many years ago when you said, I don't really want to do this? Why'd you stop running that exchange?
I don't think I anticipated per se, but you're the first person to ask me if I miss it. So I started co-founder and CEO of BTC China, which became BTCC. That was the very first Bitcoin exchange. So that launched in 2011, so a good 10 years ago. In fact, 2 weeks ago was like the sort of, what is it called? The 10-year anniversary of the launch of the exchange. Some of my ex-colleagues were reminiscing about that. And so we actually closed that exchange down in late 2017, the Chinese domestic exchange. That was shut down, upon advisement from the local regulators. That was, if people recall, that was in August and September of 2017, 4 years ago. And then we subsequently sold my company, BTCC, got acquired in January of 2018. So I exited that business after having been co-founder and CEO for 5 years. So that was a good run. And I don't miss it. I do not miss it. I can tell you firsthand that running an exchange sucks. I'll be very honest with you. It's not a fun job. In the Chinese saying, they say, what do they say? They say there's a Chinese saying where it's essentially you make money like you would sell lettuce, as in sell vegetables at a vegetable stall, make very little money, but you take the risk of selling cocaine and opium, right? So it's not well risk reward adjusted, but all sorts of things. I don't think the thing is not many people will be able to say what I say, having been in my shoes.
Yep.
Because people are either exchange founders and exchange CEOs are either still running their exchange and they wouldn't say anything bad like the way I said it, or they've gotten their exchange hacked and it's closed down, or they ran away, or they faked their death.
Yeah.
I just read recently there's two exchange founders for an exchange in South Africa
I saw
have
that.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Right? So that's it's like, well, I can see why they want to do that.
That was potentially
But,
the biggest Bitcoin heist in history. I just read that headline. I think it was like $2 or $3
Yeah,
billion.
3.6 billion, right? Yes, I read it was 3.6 billion. I didn't read it. I didn't know about it until just I think today or yesterday when I saw the news that they can't be found. But recently we've had exchange founders like the one in Canada was it
Quadriga.
I forgot. I don't know, Quadriga. So there's accusations he faked his own death and stuff like that. And then there's a bunch of exchanges, altcoin exchanges and stuff like that, who ran away. So it's not, and of course there's a famous Mt. Gox, right? And he, I don't know, Mark Karpelis, is he still in jail or is he free? But wouldn't want to be him either, right?
I believe he's a free man, but I think he's stuck there. I don't know all the rules, but I remember watching Peter McCormick's interviews. He was at least in a house, so maybe they have like something similar to a house arrest there. I'm not sure. It's not a good situation.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. And then you have the ones in China. You've heard, I don't want to name names, but you've heard the exchange leaders in China who were under house arrest most of late last year.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough. A lot of good buddies, a lot of good friends in the industry, being in tough positions. So I feel tremendously lucky.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in a lucky position
to do it the way that you did. I wasn't really expecting that answer. I was kind of expecting it to be that maybe you did. I don't know. It just seems like a little bit of an exciting, but I understand that perspective. I didn't know it was the first.
It has its ups and downs.
Sure.
It has its fun moments. But what I'm saying is overall, I'm in a very lucky position to have exited cleanly. We closed it down nicely, returned everyone's money, and so that's it's a rare feat, I guess.
You did it the right way. I didn't know that you guys were the first Bitcoin exchange ever, not just in China. That's kind of shocking. I had no idea.
No. We were the first in China.
Okay,
we were the first in China, not ever. So Mt. Gox happened. They were earlier, of course, and there's another one that was around the same time of Mt. Gox, but they didn't become big or anything. So we were the first in China. So technically not the first in Asia because Mt. Gox was in Japan.
Sure.
From the very beginning. Yeah.
What was the size? Like, how big? Mt. Gox was a massive percentage of the market when it was running. I think like 80% of the market. How big were you guys when you were in full swing? Were you had to have played a massive role? Binance wasn't around. All these exchanges weren't around.
Yeah, this is in 2013. So we gained our notoriety in 2013. So Mt. Gox has been around 2010, I guess. They were the world's largest for many years. And by trading volume, we eclipsed their trading volume. I think it was November of 2013. It was November, December timeframe. So just that short time frame, our daily trading volume exceeded that of Mt. Gox. But these things, the trading volume things, they just it's like it's a rotating kind of thing. Different exchanges become the king of the hill, so to speak.
Yeah.
So over the last 8-10 years, I mean, I've seen so many exchanges go up and down on that ranking list, and these days I don't think too much about it anymore.
Yeah. As long as I've been around, though, China banning Bitcoin has been a thing. I've only been around since early 2017. It feels like 10 years. But has that always been a thing since 2014? You said that you got advice from local regulators that it was probably a good idea to start thinking about stuff like that. Now we actually are getting some China stuff, so it's at front of mind for everyone on what's China going to do? Are they actually going to ban exchanges? Has this always been a thing? Like, is this shocking you now that it's actually happening?
Yeah, so not really. It's not shocking. It's we first got the regulators involved in December of 2013. So that was the first shocker, right? We were running our exchange, Humpty Dumpty, and I remember distinctly it was December. It was early December 4th or December 5th. I was on a flight to the U.S. and literally, like, my flight was going to depart at 1 p.m. I was in my seat about to take off, like 10-15 minutes. The flight was going to take off, and I got a call saying that the regulator is going to clamp down. It was a tip from Bloomberg or something. They were calling me for comments. I'm like, I haven't even seen the documents yet. They were calling me for comments. They got a tip off that's going to happen. So by the time I landed in San Francisco, all hell broke loose, right? Like this is the biggest news. China's going to ban Bitcoin. This is December 5th, I think,
Yeah.
to 2013. And so it's quite interesting. So that was the first time. And essentially that was sort of a rubber stamp, sort of, there's no change in law, but they were just going to say that banks and financial institutions are not allowed to participate in Bitcoin exchanges. However, they did declare that Bitcoin was a legal and legitimate virtual asset that can be owned by private citizens. So it actually helped establish Bitcoin's legality, because until then we didn't know whether Bitcoin belonged in the legal substance or the illegal substance, right? Mm-hmm. So at least from then on, Bitcoin was legal. Unlike contraband, like you think of marijuana, drugs, cocaine, those were illegal in China, whereas Bitcoin was legal. The only difference is banks were not allowed to buy, sell Bitcoin.
Yep.
So that was the first step. So actually, even with that first step, as an exchange, we were still allowed to open bank accounts, corporate bank accounts, and allow our customers to deposit money to those bank accounts, and also use those bank accounts to pay out our customers when they withdraw fiat currency. So we did that, subsequently from 2013 onwards. And then the next clampdown came the next bull market, which is 2017. That's when the price crossed $1,000 again. That's when they started clamping down again. Yeah. Starting in January, in March we closed down withdrawals, and then eventually in September we had to close down the whole exchange. So the hammer came down in September 2017 when we had to close the exchange. Yep. That's when they said, sorry guys, this is we changed our mind. This is not legal. You guys don't have a license. You should close shop. So we did that.
And this is the last question I have on this, and then we can go, because I really want to talk about a prediction you made about the current market cycle. But this China stuff, it's just, there's so much attention on it, and it's also playing such a role. When they said to clamp down, one of the strangest things that I've kind of thought about and realized over this past year is it's really hard to get an idea of what's happening in China, even with people that operate in that world. I've talked to Ben Zhao, who's the CEO over at Bybit, and they don't have Chinese customers. They stopped doing that a long time ago. But even he, like running a massive exchange, he's like, it's hard to get a straight take. I talked to Nick Carter. He spends a lot of energy and time trying to understand what's happening in China. And the strangest thing for me, Bobby, is understanding, is there not just one agency or person that makes the rule and says this is the law? It's like everyone is getting a secondhand story about what's actually happening in China. Why the hell is it so hard to figure out what's always happening?
Well, the reason it's so hard to figure out is because there's not a lot of transparency. Because this is again the cultural, right? The way the laws work in China is that the law doesn't change, but the implementation, the execution, the enforcement changes. Okay, and then the way they change enforcement is they make announcements. They'll say from now on we're going to enforce it this way. And the announcements are either done at the county level, the provincial level, or the state level, or the national level, right? So you have these announcements by different levels of the government saying how they will enforce it. And by the way, after they say they enforce it, they might follow what they say for like 3 or 4 months, and then they might taper off and back off. Yeah. And switch, right? And then normally when they back off, they don't make an announcement. So they only make an announcement when they decide to make the enforcement more strict. As an example, right? This is like let's say traffic, automobile traffic, or pedestrians crossing the red light, crossing the pedestrian crosswalk. Normally you can only cross a street when the light is green or the light is white instead of red, right? That would be the traffic law, right? So the traffic law doesn't change, but they might say, all of a sudden, starting July 1st, if you're caught jaywalking or crossing the street when the light is red, we will fine you 200 RMB or whatever, haul you off to jail, right? And then they'll say that, and then people are like, that's scary. We're not gonna do that. But maybe like 4 months later, they don't do that anymore. But there's not going to be an announcement that say, by the way, we're not going to do that anymore. So the announcements only come when they make the enforcement stricter. Yeah. So over the last few years, right, these instances of the regulatory announcements from the December 2013 to the September 2017, and then this time it's May and June of 2021. Mm-hmm. It's all about making things stricter. So the mining thing, they talked about it in 2000. 17, but ultimately didn't happen. Like in August, September, there were rumors they're going to clamp down on mining, but when the documents came out, there was
Nothing.
no clampdown on mining. They only clamped down on the exchanges. So it's like we dodged the bullet. The mining community dodged a bullet. And that, by the way, that's why we still had one of the leading mining pools, and that's how we sold BTCC subsequently, right? So looking back, that was lucky that we dodged that bullet and we were able to sell the company that year. But today, in May, they clamped down on mining, and then in June, the central bank clamped down on the on the bank transfers. So this is interesting. They're saying they're going to go after people for using the banking system to settle crypto trades.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you and I were in China, if I were to buy or sell Bitcoin from you, and we were to make a bank transaction, if the banks discovered that the RMB transfer between you and I was related to a cryptocurrency purchase, then they would shut down our bank account. They would say, Bobby, Luke, you're no longer welcome to do business at our bank. Please close this account within 3 days. Come in and get the money or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, after a while, if you run out of bank account, that's going to be very scary. So people are really going to pay attention and not do that anymore.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that enforcement kind of further reinforces the use case for Bitcoin, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. You're totally right.
That's a whole other conversation.
Exactly.
So speaking of 2014 and those early cycles, Bobby, we got to talk about this. You made a prediction. It was so good that I had to go back and check for myself. I remember seeing it then, and you don't make a lot of price calls. It's not like you're some trader drawing up 100 charts. It's not pray and spray and this sort of thing, because we see people do that and then they retweet when they're right. That isn't what happened here. In fact, I rarely see you try to predict price. And you made this call back in January. I think it was 2nd of this year. I'm going to pull up the tweet just so I don't get it wrong.
Yeah, January 3rd. I think. Yeah, go ahead. Pull it up and read it.
Of people listening, I'm going to read this out. So you said, given the huge and fast run-up of Bitcoin prices, we might have a double top this year, like in 2013. In 2013, the first mini peak was in April, followed by the bull market peak in December. And you go on to say, so the first mini peak takes out some air, allowing prices to fall back down, and subsequently builds up in the summer and fall. Now here's where it gets really interesting. You said the short-term correction, as defined by occurring within the same bull market, will be smaller, something like 40 to 60%. And then you said, if it's going to be a double peak this bull market, if I had to guess, granted, the price was like 20 or 30K at this time. You said, if I had to guess, the first mini peak will be between 70 to 90K, but we will not get past 100K. So not only did you predict that we were going to stop basically at 70, we peaked out at 65K so far, you also said right after that, we're probably going to drop 50%. The fact that you got those in order and the numbers right is just wild to me. No one, I'm saying no one was calling for a 50% drop. I was expecting some kind of pullback. 20% is normal. No one was calling for a 50% drop, and you did it 6 months in advance. How the hell did you come up with this, man? What did 2013 tell you?
I must have been possessed. I don't know why I tweeted it that. No, but looking back, it was. We'll see, right? We'll see. For this tweet to really hold water, we have to see the real bull market come in the second half of this year, and then that's going to make this tweet gold, right? It's first of all, I don't know the future, so I didn't time travel or anything like that.
Are you sure?
And secondly, no one, Satoshi or no time traveler alien, inspired me to tweet that. The reason I tweeted it is just based on my gut. So I've been in Bitcoin quite a long time. I've been in Bitcoin for 10 years now. And to me, just what I just wrote was like instinctual, right? I've seen these cycles. I've seen, feels like 2 or 3 of these cycles over the last 8-10 years. And to me, it's kind of like, it's just experience and getting the hang of it. That's my best answer. In terms of the 40 to 60% fall, that's what happens in a correction, in a major correction. And then the 70 to 99K, peak, I was off by a little bit. It was 65 instead of 70. But it's kind of like, at the beginning of the year, I think we're at $25,000-$30,000. So it felt like that was the right amount and not to go past 100. because going past 100 is a very big psychological move. There's gonna be a lot of resistance to go past 100.
Sure.
So I think we're gonna hit that either late summer or in the fall of this year to get past 100, and then it's gonna zoom up really fast. Yeah, and I'll for example, I'll give another prediction, Luke. When we hit the bull market, how do you know it's an all-time high? How do you know when it's really peaked out? That's when I tell people, I tell people jokingly, but it's true. If the price doubles within a day or 2 days, somewhere around between 1 and 3 days, if the price doubles, then that's when it runs out of steam, and that's going to be the all-time high for this bull market cycle. Because the important thing is, people always ask, how do you know when we've hit the all-time peak? And the way I say it is, the peak doesn't happen based on FUD and bad news, right? What we saw, the correction was bad news by the Chinese regulators. We also attribute to Elon Musk, dissing Bitcoin after his Saturday Night Live appearance and all that stuff. So when there's talk and regulated crackdown, that's usually a panic sell. That's never the end of a peak. However, the true end of a peak is usually from not enough steam. So it's when the price goes up too fast and it just can't sustain it anymore. So that happens when the price doubles or increases 50 to 100% within 1 to 3 days, I would say.
A blow off top, like when we just get way too far ahead of ourselves, demand far exceeds where we should be.
Exactly. It's like when your taxi driver comes in and buys Bitcoin, that's when the end is near.
It's weird though, because this cycle, Bitcoin has hit such mainstream. Enough people know about it that I'd find it strange if my Uber driver or the random guy on the street, the barber, doesn't know about Bitcoin. I don't know if we can use that metric anymore.
No, you can, because they know about it, but they haven't purchased it yet, right? I was on a call with 2 investors just yesterday, and I asked them. They were talking about investing in crypto and my company and all that stuff. And I was asking, do you hold Bitcoin? And neither of them did. So that to me is a sign that the bull market is not here yet, right? The bull market is here when the laggards get on, right? When the person who wasn't convinced, 6 months ago, wasn't convinced 4 years ago, they're like, you know what, Bobby, you're right. I think we should buy some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's a bad. Yeah, that could be the sign of the peak for this cycle.
It's also been interesting, this bull run, we have this new type of buyer. You have the corporate buyers like Michael Saylor. You have a lot more institutions getting in. That was always a meme in the past, right? But now actual institutions getting in. It didn't lead to a blow off top. And you said, bad news doesn't cause a top, it just causes a correction. I think that kind of further, proves your point of this likely was not the blow off top. This was more of a correction. I'm curious, what was 2013 like? Because I think we peaked at 1,300. Do you remember what that double top looked like?
It was okay. So the double. I'll walk you through history. So the double top happened this way. Okay, so in early 2013, even I was. Remember 2012 like it was a dead year. Okay, 2012. From late 11 to 2012 it was like a bear market. And 2013, I think I forgot exactly. I wasn't even paying attention to early 2013 of the prices, but it was in the dollars and the teens, okay, like a few dollars, a few tens of dollars. And then in April 2013, I think it crossed like $20, $26. At the time, $26 was the all-time high, okay, $26. And when it crossed that, I remember text messaging my brother. He was in San Francisco, I was in China. I was like, hey Charlie, this is exciting here. It's crossing $26. Oh my God, it's like happening so fast, right? So we're talking about it, and then sure enough, within a few weeks, between March and April, it went up to I think it was a $265 on Mt. Gox, 265, and that was like crazy. Okay, so that was the first top, 265. And then it fell back down, and then by May, June, it was boring again. Bitcoin was boring. It was at $100. It was like plus a few dollars, $120. It was $80. It was $130, $110. So that summer was the summer of boring Bitcoin prices stuck at $100. And I remember at the time I was at BTC China. We're working on the trading engine, and we would draw these diagrams of the whiteboards. And we would do the what do you call that chart? The bid ask order price, chart. And I remember putting these numbers, like we always anchor the price at $100, like the bids and the asks above and below, at above and below $100. So stayed at $100 for a while, and then by late summer it started creeping up above 100, and then by September, I think crossed 200, and then it crossed 300, and that's when it's gaining steam. And by October, it would cross 400-500. It would cross the all-time high, which was 265. It would cross that, and then 4 or 5, and then by November, I think the day we announced our Series A funding, essentially Bitcoin peaked out at $1,200. Yeah, it was like waking up in the morning, it already blew off, and then after that, it ran out of steam. So late November to early December, it was trying to catch up to that, but it fell back down. That's when it ran out of steam, and of course, then the ban came, the China ban, on December 5th, and then it really lost steam. So at end of the year, I believe it was around 600 or 700, 800, and then in January it went down to 400, 500, 600. And at the time, I wasn't experienced enough at the time. I thought it was going to keep going up, but sadly, that was already in the bear market.
Yeah,
people didn't realize that, and that was when MT Gox had their blow up. So when the bear market hits, there's going to be a lot of bad news comes out, and that just further cements it and leaves it in the bear market territory, so to speak.
Yeah. It's funny, like that double top. It's something that I didn't experience it on a chart. You can hardly see now. It's a blip on the radar, like
it's a blip. It's like a speed bump. It's like a dot on the ground. Yeah.
On a long enough time horizon, it feels like Bitcoin's always in a bull market, and I'm not saying that like Bitcoin's forever gonna keep going up with the exact same amount of velocity, and I'm also not saying this is like shaking my fist at central banks for money printing. But, if you look at stocks for the past 80 or 100 years, you look at, everything just kind of goes up and to the right. And it's, companies are getting more efficient, they're making more money. But at the same time, a lot of that has to do with the money printing. It's the same trade. Bitcoin is
absolutely.
Bitcoin's not unique in that sense. And I think, in 50 years, we're going to look back and be like, man, it's hilarious to think we thought that was the double top. Equities keep going up. The Nasdaq's going to keep going up. Bitcoin will probably keep going up. Maybe not 3x in 1 month like 2013, but it's the same trade. It's all the same trade.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And this is the thing I talk about in my book. Do I have a copy of my book? Anyways, my book is called The Promise of Bitcoin. Essentially, the issue is the reason I have people are naysayers. They're like, "Oh, Bobby, are you sure Bitcoin's going to go up to $1 million?" I'm like, "Yes, for sure." And the reason is because they're going to keep printing money. Right? If they stop, the only way, if the governments really want to stop Bitcoin price to go up, and I say it to any government who really wants to stop it, the best way is to stop printing your money. Don't increase your money supply, and you have a small chance Bitcoin won't go up. But if you keep printing money, then it's like, forget it. All bets are off. Bitcoin price will keep going up. It's no different than real estate, right? We hear stories these days from people of our grandparents' generation when they buy a house in the U.S. for $50,000. Right? You heard these stories in the 1950s or whatever. You would buy a whole house for $50,000, and now houses are $1 million. Oh
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm speaking. There's some exceptions, a lot of exceptions below $1 million, but these days, expensive houses in nice area, or not even expensive, like a moderate house in a nice area, is $1 million home. Why is that? It's just because there's too much money around.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the reason. And when our children grow up, when our grandchildren grow up, there's going to be even more money. By then, a top house for a millionaire will be $100 million home, and then for regular people, will be like $1 million or $5 million, $10 million, just because there's too much money. Yeah,
it's insane. Bitcoin will go up by design based on that. It's just insane to think about. I was listening to Novogratz yesterday on CNBC, and he described what's happening. He said, "Yeah, I'm probably having less fun than I was at 60K." But I'm definitely not nervous. Is there like a cycle that you remember where you stop being nervous? I imagine you feel that same way. I certainly feel that way. And I think anyone that's been through a couple cycles feels that way. No one's nervous anymore.
I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous anymore. Yeah. The time when I was nervous, that's a great question. That's an awesome question. Let me think about that. There was. So by the way, here's another insight. Okay. Anyone who wants to make money in Bitcoin has to be mentally with expectation that their Bitcoin will be underwater at some point in time. Like, no, to my knowledge, no one's ever made money in Bitcoin where they've never seen their Bitcoin underwater, right? Underwater meaning that the Bitcoin price is lower than what you purchased it for. So today, obviously, my Bitcoin is not underwater because I bought Bitcoin, years ago, right? So if your Bitcoin is underwater today, I'm speaking to the audience here, it's normal, okay? And I'll share with you my own experience. So I purchased Bitcoin in 2013. I also bought some in 2014. And I remember buying Bitcoin at about $600, thinking that was a good price. And in hindsight, it was. But at the time, I thought it was a good price. But within like a month or two, it felt really sour, the decision, right? Because it would have gone down. Went down to like $200, $300, and my Bitcoin was underwater for years, for like a year or two or three, right? So that's when I wouldn't say I felt nervous, I felt frustrated. I felt extreme frustration that I bought Bitcoin at $600 some when Bitcoin is trading at $275. I think for all of 2015, Bitcoin was at around $200, $300, $400, and it was just extremely frustrating, that bear market, that winter year.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can believe it. You're bullish on ETH too, and I'm curious on how you think ETH plays out. I think you're bullish on ETH from a couple conversations at poker and some tweets. Did you hold any ETH? Have you been holding any ETH that long? Or I know you've held your Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on ETH?
Yeah. So I'll clarify. So I do hold ETH. I have some ETH, but I'm consider myself a Bitcoin maximalist. So
okay.
The majority of my holdings is in Bitcoin. I have some ETH. I have some Litecoin. And then pretty much nothing else. But to be honest, I'm a Bitcoin guy. So if you ask me, I know what the Bitcoin price is today, 33,000, right? But if you ask me what's the price of ETH, I have no idea. Like, I had to go.
Don't even look at it. Yeah.
Because to me, I don't look at it. I don't look at it. So I hold it. I don't look at it, and I have no idea what the ETH price is. Like if you ask me any month of the year for the last few years, I can pretty much tell you what was the price of Bitcoin. It's like ingrained in my head. Okay. Whereas ETH, I have no idea. So I have no idea where we're at. I have no idea where we're going. So even though I hold it, I wouldn't say that I'm a bullish and I'm an active investor in ETH. So Unfortunately, I'm not.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I do see the potential. To me, it's a very different thing. Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Two very different things.
Yeah.
I guess to me, it's just interesting. It's like, as a trade, certainly ETH is interesting only because it feels like ETH is just like a few cycles behind. It hasn't been through all of those cycles that Bitcoin has. And I know Bitcoin's going to be volatile for a long time. I view that as a long-term investment. Sure, I make some trades here and there, but that's kind of the vision for Bitcoin. For ETH, the trading opportunities just seem so lucrative if it is a few cycles behind. The amount of growth that's going to happen, and if I have someone like you I can call up and you can predict 6 months out, I think I can make a lot of money there.
Maybe. I guess, yeah. I have nothing to say. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I just don't know enough to say anything about that.
That's fair. That's fair. You're striking me, though, as being a sharper trader than I would have thought. I know you wouldn't call yourself a trader. You're a Bitcoin maximalist. You've held Bitcoin for a long time, believe in it. Were you doing that, too, at the poker table? Were you kind of hustling a little bit? You seem like you're a much better trader. You can predict where prices are going. You might have been a better poker player than you were letting off.
I don't. Are you talking about the poker games, or are you talking about just in? Well, so two things. I don't trade Bitcoin. So I'll clarify. I do buy Bitcoin when prices dip. I do sell it when prices go up. Okay, so very clear. I do take money off the table when the prices do go up. However, for people out there who might be accusing me of selling all my Bitcoin, I can tell you that I only sell a small percentage of my Bitcoin. I still have the vast majority of my wealth tied up in Bitcoin. And what else was I going to say? Oh, in terms of my sort of instincts on the pricing, it's not that I'm a trader. So I don't do any leverage buying trading. So I don't buy Bitcoin futures. I don't buy Bitcoin options. I don't trade those forwards, those things that you have on all those fancy exchanges. I don't do any derivatives. I don't do any of that. I don't leverage and make a bet. Okay. So I hodl and sit on it, and then when it goes up, I take money off the table. But why do I have those price predictions that are instant? It's because I ran an exchange. I've seen the charts.
Yep.
I've been around for 10 years. I've like the 4-year cycle. feels like it feels like it's in Bitcoin's DNA, the 4-year price cycle. And to some people, well, it is in Bitcoin's DNA because every 4 years you have the block halving. Well, the real question is, will it really be in Bitcoin's DNA for the next 50 years? I don't know, but at least for the last 12 years, it's been such an important part of the Bitcoin price cycle, the every 4-year market, that I feel like we at least have a few more of these coming. And I really look forward. I mean, in the next 10 years, we're going to have, 3 more, 2 or 3 more of these halvings. It's just going to be tremendously exciting what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I found. So I was talking to Suju, who's the CEO at Three Arrows Capital, one of the largest crypto funds in the world. And he said that when I was talking to him, most people actually, I think, take the other side of this. I've said, is Bitcoin always going to be this volatile? Are we always going to have these massive swings where we run up 10x and decline 80%? And he said, yeah. He said, I think maybe not always. He said, but for a very long time, it will be this volatile. I mean, that is partially in Bitcoin's design, as you just said. So it's kind of one of those weird things that I think that's another reason why a lot of people didn't predict or think what you did and say we're going to have a 50% decline. It's just like as Bitcoin gets bigger, you start to say, that can't happen again. We're big enough. There's enough buyers. But it'll probably keep happening, and people have to prepare for that.
It'll keep happening. And I'll tell you why. It keeps happening because Bitcoin is not regulated, meaning you as much as Coinbase and other prominent exchanges are regulated by their countries, you will always have these offshore exchanges that are not going to be under regulated control. And for that, they will always have these aggressive leveraged products like futures and highly leveraged products. So you always have traders, and traders want to make money. So that's why there's a large incentive for the traders to slam the price down or to pump the price up to make money, especially during options expiration or futures settlement dates and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I think for the near foreseeable future, for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, Bitcoin will continue to be very, very volatile. I think that will stop when Bitcoin becomes a rival as one of the largest asset classes. When Bitcoin in aggregate value today, I think Bitcoin is under 1 trillion. I think it's about $600 to $700 billion today. Okay. When that gets to, and by the way, that's about 10% of gold from a few years ago. Okay, so when Bitcoin exceeds 1 trillion, which it did top out at 1 trillion recently, right, in April, when it goes to 10 trillion, when it goes to 100 trillion, if it goes to $200 trillion, then I think that's when Bitcoin will become stable,
or at least at least less volatile.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
less volatile, yeah.
As long as the cycle,
200 trillion is a lot of money. 200 trillion.
That is. I don't even have to do the math to understand that Bitcoin price is going to make me pretty happy. I don't even have to do the math.
Yeah,
that sounds big enough for me. So, Bobby, what else is keeping you busy nowadays? Besides just predicting the Bitcoin price perfectly and just doing that by gut, what else keeps you busy? I know you just wrote a book. Congratulations. I need to grab myself a copy. I haven't done it. And for everyone listening, I'm going to link it down below. But what is this? What's the book, man?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. The book is called The Promise of Bitcoin. It's here we go.
There it is.
It's right here. The Promise of Bitcoin. Yep, it just recently became a bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller.
Beautiful.
So it's on Amazon. You can get the hardcover version. It's about $30, or you can also buy the Kindle version. And then later this summer we'll have the audiobook version out, I believe. That's what the publishers tell me. Unfortunately, it doesn't look so. I applied to be the narrator, but I don't think they called me back for auditions for that. So they're gonna have a professional narrator.
Nice.
Someone who speaks slower than I do. So it's really for the generic, for the new person. It's really, even though I have a tech background, this book is not techy at all. It's very easy to read. And it's really for people new to cryptocurrency, new to Bitcoin, and unashamedly, it's only about Bitcoin. So I think I mentioned some other currencies, but it's really not about blockchain. It's really not about altcoins. It's not about DeFi. It's not about all the crazy NFT stuff that's happening. But it's really about Bitcoin, why Bitcoin is a fundamental revolutionary invention, and how it's going to change the world in terms of finance and all that. It makes a case for Bitcoin being an important global reserve asset class, and it makes a case for Bitcoin being an ultimate investment of our lifetime, investment of our lifetime. So I encourage, if you're in Bitcoin already, you probably don't need to read it, but certainly buy the book for your friends and family.
Definitely.
People who you think can benefit from understanding why Bitcoin is a big deal.
It makes for an excellent gift. I'm going to link, as I said, I'm going to link that down below. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can find that link down below to purchase it. And also, if you're listening, the link will be down below. Bobby, I'm curious, how did you write that book? What I mean by that is, I've always found it really attractive. Like one day, I would love to write a book and publish it. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I would love to do it. I also just want to work on my writing. Some people kind of talk their books out loud, then they have a ghostwriter write it for them. Some people actually take a year or two and they write each chapter by chapter. How did you do it? How the hell did you write a full book?
Yeah. So it's chapter by chapter. I actually started this effort just like what you said. I had always thought about, hey, I want to write a book, publish a book. And this is even before I got into Bitcoin. Okay, it's like, hey, when I want to be an author and all that stuff. And then I got really busy in Bitcoin, started my company, and I forgot about the book thing altogether. And then in 2018, after I sold my company, I took a sort of like a world tour. I mean, not technically a scheduled world tour, but I did travel the world. I went to a lot of countries, gave a lot of speeches at conferences. So 2018, if you recall, was the year after the bull market. So there was still a tailwind of conferences. People still were hoping that the Bitcoin was in the bull market. So there were a lot of conferences. They invited me to speak. A lot of them paid me high speaking fees. So I traveled the world giving speeches. And that's when I realized, you know what? I would be happy to share my experiences and explain Bitcoin in fundamental, easy to understand terms to the layman, to the common person, to the everyday person, right?
Yep.
So my speeches were about that. And I decided to write a book at that time. I thought I'd get the book written by the end of the year. So I started putting a draft together, putting a table of contents, writing some of the chapters, content, and then I realized it's going to be a much longer effort. So I found an agent, and she helped me find a publisher. I believe the time's all squished together.
Sure.
So basically, it was 2018, 2019, and then that turned into a COVID year at the end. Or actually, no, it was not COVID year. 2009, I was just really busy. Okay, we were supposed to get started on that. So basically, I'm trying to remember now. We got the publisher, McGraw-Hill. I think it was I remember now. It was in mid 2019. I got the book contract from McGraw-Hill, and I was going to finish it by the end of the year. But that dragged on longer, and then COVID hit. So it was actually last summer when we were playing poker online. That's last summer when I was, sort of in Las Vegas, holed up. That's when I spent more time writing out the chapters.
Nice.
And by the fall, I finished all the chapters, and then going through a bunch of editorial processes. So it's a long process, really detailed. It was like, it's just a look at the book now. It's just I'm just so happy it's in printed form now.
I can imagine
dealing with it. Yeah. And then I was touching it up as recently as this early March was the final draft, final revisions and copy edits and all that. So it took a good 2.5 years from end to end.
2.5 years to New York Times bestseller. Congratulations on that. It's not. Incredible.
It's a Wall Street Journal. bestseller. So not quite New York Times. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how they rank them, but to me, bestseller is what matters. It's impressive work nonetheless. And you're also working at. That's not all you do. You're also the founder of Ballot, which is a crypto wallet.
Ballet, yeah.
And right. What's going on with that?
All right. So Ballet is it's a hardware wallet. It's what I call a stable, non-electronic hardware wallet. Allows you to store your cryptocurrency on here, and basically makes it really easy for regular people to own their own Bitcoins and have control over it. So all too often, I think the easy solution for storing Bitcoin is actually using a custodial solution. So that's why the way I imagine it is it's like a pyramid, right? The bottom layer, the vast majority of people on this planet store their cryptocurrency on exchanges,
Coinbase,
on custodial services, Coinbase and whatever. And the reason it's easy, all it is an account login and a password, okay? And then with some two-factor SMS and all that stuff. But turns out that's also very easy to be hacked, right? Not only can the exchange be hacked, the exchange can go bankrupt. You also have, internal potential employee theft, and also you now have the risk of your account getting hacked. So people have their emails hacked, people have their mobile phone numbers, SIM cards hijacked. So all sorts of people. We've seen lots of examples, Luke, over the years of people getting their Coinbase account emptied out because they lost access to their account and stuff like that. So that's actually very dangerous to put cryptocurrency in there. And also you're subject to regulatory control and all that stuff, whether you're whatever citizen or whatever state you live in, a lot of restrictions and how much you can withdraw. So I wanted to service this population of people. And the people who are technically savvy would actually install wallets on their software, on their phone, on their PC. They would have these software-based wallets, and the more fancy people would use electronic hardware wallets. The size, it connects by USB or it connects by Bluetooth, and those are very, very hard to use. So this is also my baby. I discovered in 2018 during my off year that hardware wallets were very difficult to use. Over the years, I've recommended my friends to buy Bitcoin. And ultimately, all those years, I would hold the Bitcoins for them because I wouldn't be able to find a solution for them to hold it themselves. And then once in a while, I say, here's a hardware wallet, go figure it out how to do it. And then it would take them hours and hours. They couldn't figure it out. So that's why I invented this Ballet wallet, which is to allow you to instantly load cryptocurrency on here, and then you can it's very easy. It's no setup. People can just use it right away. So we've launched this for 18 months. It's been very safe, no loss. There's no hacking because it's offline completely, and there has been no hacking. In fact, I even have a challenge out there. If you go to takebobbiesbitcoin.com, I have 2 wallets where you can try to steal my Bitcoins if you try to hack the passphrase or the key.
That's incredible.
And then yeah. So I've had it for almost a year now, and no one's going to be able to guess it, right? The other thing is we've announced that we have over $250 million worth of customer deposits on the Ballet wallets all over the world. So it's really gained a lot of trust and by a lot of people around the world. So I'm really happy with this product. It's for me, it's a contribution to the industry to allow our cryptocurrency industry for our people to bring cryptocurrency to their friends and family. And plus, this is the first physical wallet that is multi-currency. So unlike the old school paper wallets, which can only store Bitcoin, this one stores Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, XRP, all the stuff. Dogecoin stores Ethereum, obviously, all the tokens, all the DeFi stuff, everything. Yeah.
I don't know where I got my first Ballet wallet. I think it was actually from Pomp. I was visiting him in New York, and he had like a ton of them laying around. But what I realized when I held it, and you're holding one up right now, is it looked like a credit card. And I think when you tell people you have a hardware wallet and you show them like this little USB device, they're still trying to figure out like, what the hell am I looking at? And it's so funny. Like you said, some people have a hard time using that. And for younger people, they say, how do you have a hard time using that? But I got my dad into Bitcoin. What was this, 2017, 2018? Yes. He got a Bitcoin, and still to this day, not hating on you, Dad, if you're listening, but he will ask me, he has the ledger, and he'll say, can I get into this? Can you guys get me into this thing? Can I check how much? And I'm like, man, it would be really nice if he just had a little credit card looking device that he could hold. There's just Bitcoin. It's easier to access. So it's kind of a funny thing. Yeah. I think the product is really slick.
Yeah, your dad is a perfect audience. So I don't know whether
I got to get him one of those.
A Ballet wallet. You get him that. I challenge you. I think I don't know how he's able to, whether or not he's able to use the Ledger wallet properly, but I can assure you, I'll give you a money back guarantee that your dad can use this wallet all by himself without further instructions from you. Yeah, just I'll send him one if you want to. Just give me his address offline, and basically he'll be able to do it. And the best part is if you have a Ledger or other hardware wallets with the BIP39, like a 24-word seed, we have an import feature where in our app, once you buy this, you load the app, you can actually use the import feature, and it'll automatically suck up all the coins from your BIP39 wallet all onto Ballet, all in one transaction. It'll be very, very easy. Beautiful. So it's a very easy onboarding experience. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do then.
Type in the 24 words, it all got suck it up.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then once it's in here, you keep it safe, right? Like the reason I created this is because I think normal people right? Not geeks. Like you and I are geeks and nerds in this industry, but normal people like your father, my parents, and or even children, right? They know how to store physical goods. They know how to store things safely physically. And this is the idea that as long as you don't lose it physically, you're not going to lose your Bitcoins.
Sure.
You're not going to lose your crypto. So I think it's a good compromise.
All right, Dad, we're getting you hooked up with a Ballet wallet. That's the solution. I just found it. I'm glad we had this call to figure that out. Bobby, before we wrap this up, you also have one really exciting giveaway that I don't think enough people know about. And you tweeted this out, but also for every listener of my show right now, I am not kidding when I say this. Bobby is giving away a Tesla CyberTruck. It could be a listener of this show. I want it to be a listener of this show. For someone watching or listening right now, he is literally giving you a Tesla CyberTruck for free. Bobby, what do they need to do to get a Tesla CyberTruck?
So it's been on my Twitter. So I actually made this bet with the community last year. It's sort of like an offer, not a true bet. So last summer, I predicted that. Last summer, I think Bitcoin price was around, was it 10,000? I forgot. It must have been around 10,000, $9,000, $10,000. I predicted that by the end of 2021, by the end of this year, meaning 18 months from at that time, you could buy a Tesla Cybertruck with 1 Bitcoin. And the Tesla Cybertruck is very, very popular, very famous. You know, it's got a lot of back orders. I think it starts at about $39,900, so under $40,000, very affordable. And my bet was that Bitcoin will exceed $40,000 by the end of 2021. Okay, so what I committed publicly on Twitter is that as long as Bitcoin price crosses $39,900 in the year 2021, then I will offer to give away a free Tesla Cybertruck, the base model, to a winner. So basically, you have to follow me on Twitter. You have to retweet the tweet. And there's some rules and conditions. You have to be a resident of the United States because that's where the Cybertruck is released. So if you're in some other country, sorry, there's no Cybertruck there to give away. And then I think there's a few states, unfortunately, that we can't give away due to state laws on lotteries and giveaways. So I think that's New York and Florida. So aside from New York and Florida, then you're eligible. So just follow me on Twitter, retweet one of my Cybertruck tweets. And what's going to happen is at the end of this year, in late December, I'm going to go through all my followers and pick out someone. And if that person has retweeted any of my Cybertruck giveaway tweets, then that will be the winner. And we'll contact the winner and we'll ask them if they want it. And if they want it, I'll give them a Cybertruck. But I think the winner has to obviously pay their own taxes, gift taxes on the prize of the car and all that stuff. So there's some minor details. We'll work it out. I don't think anyone winning a Cybertruck is going to be too upset about having to pay some fees. I'll come out and say it. I'll pay the fees. If you want to give it to me, if I win the giveaway, I'll pay the fees if you want to send it my way. Or any listener to the show, I do hope someone listening to this episode right now, I want someone out there to go buy a Ballet wallet and also win a Cybertruck. That'd be a win-win. Bobby, I appreciate you coming on, man. Yes, indeed. Enjoy your quarantine. I know you're kind of stuck in one spot right now, but I imagine Bitcoin's action is keeping you a little bit busy, and wish you the best with Ballet and with the book. I want everyone listening to go check both those out, and obviously we'll keep watching your Twitter feed for you to tell us where Bitcoin goes next, because I don't think anyone has any clue right now. Yeah, and one more thing to tell everyone is I'm happy to announce that in time for Amazon's Prime, they have the Prime sale, right? Yep. Prime Day sale. Bitcoin is also participating, so you can get Bitcoin for up to 50% off its all-time high right now. So if you buy Bitcoin now, you get Bitcoin more than 50% off its all-time high from 2 months ago. So it's Amazon's Prime Day sale. It's sponsored by the Chinese government, by the regulators in China, and also sponsored by Elon Musk for the sale on Bitcoin. It's beautiful. They're also doing instant delivery. So they're also doing Prime delivery. When you buy it, you get it right then. It's beautiful. I appreciate them for doing that. Bobby, thanks for the reminder. Thanks for coming on, man. Have a good rest of your week, and we will talk soon. Okay, great. Thank you. Yep. Bye-bye.